their focus on Iran and calling for change.
Tis the final battle!
Iranian Canadians hold yet another rally in the capital as protests slow down in their home country after a violent crackdown by the Iranian regime. And pursuing the perfect home at the Ottawa Home and Remodeling Show.
Everything is expensive, and the vendors are understanding what the market's like out there.
A look at the most popular choices as homeowners search for inspiration. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Hundreds of people gathered on Parliament Hill once again today, speaking up for the people of Iran. Let's bring in CTV's Natalie Van Roy, who joins us live in studio with more on this rally. Natalie.
Well, Austin, the rally started at Parliament Hill before people marched through the streets of Ottawa to City Hall, where the group chanted support for the people of Iran as they say they risked their lives pushing for a regime change in the country. A demand for support amid crisis in Iran.
Tis the final battle!
Many here with families still in the country.
No battle!
Serena Nouri has struggled to keep in touch with his parents through internet blackouts in the Middle Eastern country.
After the internet blackout shut down, they called me for about 45 seconds very quickly. They said that don't worry about us, we are alive.
Hundreds of protesters gathering at Parliament Hill, waving flags and marching through the streets of Ottawa.
I'm very sad for my people that are being murdered by this regime, but at the same time, I'm hopeful because this is the only time, this is the first time that we feel that we have some support from the outside world. President Trump promised that he will help Iran.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the U.S. and Iran are seriously talking amid tensions between Washington and Tehran. The U.S. has built up its naval presence in the Middle East after Trump repeatedly threatened Iran with intervention if it did not agree to a nuclear deal or failed to stop killing protesters. According to state media, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said if the U.S. attacks Iran, it would create a regional conflict.
Be the voice of the people and ask for the politicians to take action.
Similar protests held in Montreal and Toronto demanding the fall of the Islamic regime. Back in Ottawa, the protesters finishing the rally at City Hall.
This is the final battle. It is time to stand with the people of Iran for their freedom, for making the whole region and the whole world a safer place.
Meanwhile, some protesters in Toronto said they supported Western intervention in Iran as the government violently cracks down on demonstrations within the country. Austin.
CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us tonight. Natalie, thank you very much for this. And CTV Ottawa has extended coverage of the widespread protests in Iran and the response here in Canada. There are more stories online at ctvnewsottawa.ca. A cold one here in the capital, but a sunny one at that. So a pretty nice day to get outside on the Rideau Canal. Sounds like it was quite busy as we take our first look at the weather forecast. -10 is what we're experiencing right now. Again, those sunny conditions are carrying over, but we are dipping to pretty cold overnight lows once again before things do warm up. -19 is the low here in Ottawa, -23 out in Bancroft. Same with Gatineau, so just on the other side of the river, but 4 degrees cooler for tonight's low. Very cold in Tremblant as well for anyone maybe returning from a ski trip. -24 is the low there tonight. Tomorrow's high, -6 degrees. That's going to be a treat compared to what we've experienced as of late here in Ottawa and in Gatineau. Nothing but sunshine in the forecast. Again, that high of -6 degrees. Ontario Provincial Police say 2 people have died after a head-on crash on Highway 17 near Renfrew yesterday afternoon. Officers responded to a crash involving a pickup truck and another vehicle on the highway between Anderson Road and McCallum Drive. It was just after 1 p.m. Saturday. Police say both drivers, a 55-year-old man from Renfrew and a 71-year-old man from Ottawa, were pronounced dead on the scene. Any witnesses or anyone with any relevant dash camera footage is asked to contact OPP or Crime Stoppers. And Ontario Provincial Police are investigating the death of an inmate who was being held at a medium security prison near Kingston. Police say a 49-year-old inmate at the Bath Institution was found in medical distress Thursday morning and was taken to hospital before being airlifted to a second hospital in Toronto, where he died on Saturday. A post-mortem examination is being conducted to determine the cause of death. The Bath Institution is about 25 kilometers southwest of Kingston. Well, the start of February means the beginning of Black History Month. Here in the nation's capital, the city launched it with a special event today, and CTV's Kimberly Johnson was there.
A celebration of people, music, history, and the future at the launch of Black History Month in Ottawa. Diana Aday says dancing connects her to her Ghanaian culture.
Showing your culture and everybody smiling and everybody connecting, that feeling is just indescribable.
Her and her partner have been dancing for 2 years. To perform here today is meaningful for them both.
Black History Month means it's a time when we as Black people are able to come together and, connect in oneness, in unity. It brings back memories of what our history was. It keeps us deeply rooted. It also makes us feel we are not forgotten.
Do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in the City of Ottawa.
Black History Ottawa hosting the official launch of Black History Month in the city. Marking its 40th year, organizers say hundreds are attending the special milestone.
It is important for people to come and see that Black Canadians in a positive way and to learn about the contributions they've made to the city and to Canada.
Throughout the month, 3 OC Transpo buses will hold a mural with CTV's own Stefan Keys on the side. The mural also holds a Juno Award winner and a local national soccer star.
It's a huge honor. I love my city. I love my community. This is a place that raised me and made me, and it means a lot. Just an immense sense of gratitude.
The event also launching a new commemorative coin by the Royal Mint and has 3 new stamps by Canada Post.
The Black History Ottawa has always done that, bringing community together and people together in celebration of Black excellence, Black history, and Black history in Ottawa.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
Ontario's Premier is making a splash at the PC Party's convention in Etobicoke. Doug Ford says he wants to run for a 4th mandate in the next election, but this weekend has not been without controversy. Here's CTV's Rahim Ladani.
Progressive Conservatives from across Ontario gathered for the party's convention at the Toronto Congress Centre this weekend.
Captain Canada, Doug Ford.
And Saturday night listened as the Premier touted his government's accomplishments while pushing back against tariffs imposed by the U.S. president.
Despite President Trump's tariffs and threats, we are building a province that is more resilient, self-reliant, and competitive than ever before.
Conservative strategists believe that theme of standing up to America will resonate well within the party.
Standing tough for Ontario, standing tough against President Trump. The tariffs are so impactful to so many Canadians across the board. So ultimately, I think it was received extremely well.
Ford is currently leading his 3rd consecutive majority, a feat which hadn't been done since 1959. Now it appears he's interested in following in the footsteps of former PC Premier, the late Bill Davis, and a 4th term.
A party that I look forward to leading to win a historic 4th majority mandate with your help in the next election.
That remark comes a day after Pierre Poilievre received support to stay on as the party's federal leader. Ontario's Liberal Party is taking a jab at the Premier. MPP Dr. Adil Shamji writing in a statement, "This ambition paired with his subdued demeanor may reflect his disappointment over Pierre Poilievre's successful leadership review and its implication for Ford's quashed federal ambitions. To be clear, Ontario will never be a consolation prize for Doug Ford's ego." This weekend's convention has not been without controversy. At least one demonstrator tried to disrupt Ford's address, holding a sign referencing the mercury crisis impacting Grassy Narrows First Nation. And earlier, the party initially banned journalists from accessing the event, but then reversed course without giving a reason why the ban was instituted or overturned. Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
Well, the Ottawa Home and Remodeling Show wraps up today as thousands walk the floor looking for ideas and checking their budgets. With economic considerations top of mind, the question is, are people spending money or are they holding back? CTV's Josh Morano joins us now. Josh, what was the mood like at the show?
Well, Austin, it was definitely busy, and some told me they were just browsing, others in the middle of renovations. Either way, everyone was trying to decide what's really worth their money. Full aisles at the Ottawa Home and Remodeling Show at the EY Centre, with homeowners comparing options and prices.
We're looking at doing a remodeling of our kitchen.
Peter Latimer is on the hunt for renovation ideas as he looks to redo his kitchen. His focus, finding the balance of style and cost.
We're always looking for the best deal. Everything is expensive, and the vendors are understanding what the market's like out there, and they understand how expensive everything is.
For some shoppers, higher costs and uncertainty make it harder to plan big projects.
Money's getting tighter, so it's got to be rough for the and of course there's Trump and tariffs and supply chains, so that cost of living is a huge issue.
While vendors say it was a busy weekend, some note economic uncertainty has made buyers more cautious. Still, there has been a boost from Canadian-made products as companies adjust.
A lot of products that we'd never worked with before have kind of come to the forefront as Canadian-made and supplied. So, but yet, consumer spending is definitely created a bit of a challenge in pricing larger scale products.
It's really nice to come in here and know that there's people caring and they show the work, and it's like their heart is into it. And when you talk Canadian, they're even more passionate.
For Latimer, he says he loves coming to the show every year, and building connections is just as important as finding the best deals.
The passion of the vendors here that really know that money is tight for people, and you're trying to make that money go, but that's the cost, and we're happy to do it.
Vendors I spoke with today say while they have seen a dip, this weekend is an indicator that people are still interested in upgrading and renovating, with kitchen renos once again at the top of most homeowners' lists. Austin.
Josh, thank you very much for this. CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. Well, Winterlude is back. The highly anticipated winter celebration is underway right now, right across the city here in Ottawa and across the river in Gatineau, which is where we find CTV's Camille Wilson live at Jacques Cartier Park. Camille.
Austin, I'm sure you've seen all of the ice sculptures all across the downtown core. Right now, I'm here at Jacques Cartier Park at Snowflake Kingdom, and there's lots of activities for families to take part in. But today, I checked out Pibon Festival, part of Winterlude, celebrating Indigenous culture. Friends Alexandra and Candalee curious about a culture that's not their own.
We like to learn more about Indigenous communities in Canada. So the Winterlude was having this event.
And over the next couple of weeks, they plan to check out all of Winterlude has to offer.
It's like a week-long festival, and especially with the ice sculptures, they're always there. So we're able to go during the week and enjoy.
Winterlude has taken over the National Capital Region, and on Sunday, visitors were welcome to reflect and gather at Pibon Festival, an Indigenous celebration.
We live in such a fast-paced society that when we have that downtime, it can feel really heavy. And so it's really nice to have this celebration to, instead of feel so down about the winter time, like let's celebrate the winter time.
Indigenous food on display and Indigenous designers showcasing their work on winter coats and how they prepare caribou, deer, or bison hides known as frost scraping.
We get these hides and, we like to process them into smoked tan hide. And out of those smoked tan hide, we like to make things like gloves, hats, some jewelry, some earrings.
Until February 16th, thousands of tourists and visitors are expected to take in Winterlude activities all across Ottawa and Gatineau. Natalia and her family are at the Canadian Museum of History. Their first stop is at the mini powwow featuring Indigenous dancing and local Indigenous artisans.
We decided today come to celebrate this culture, to know more about them, and it's been so nice, so fun.
Organizers say it's a great opportunity to gain insight into First Nations celebrations.
It's happening right behind us. It's a wonderful opportunity, first of all, to stay warm inside the museum, but to also learn more about Indigenous cultures, which is so important.
Confederation Park is where you can find the Crystal Garden with ice sculptures and animations. Here at Snowflake Kingdom at Jacques Cartier Park has 8 different corridors for tubing. Sounds like so much fun if you ask me. And if you need a shuttle to get from location to location, there's a free shuttle taking you from each park, and Winterlude runs until February 16th.
And I know that things are slow right now there, but they just closed at 6 o'clock. It'll be lively again tomorrow. Camille, thank you very much for reporting and for this tonight. Thank you. Well, for the 3rd straight year, a chef from British Columbia has won gold at the Canadian Culinary Championship here in Ottawa. Chef Jay Park of Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar in Vancouver is the 2026 champion at the prestigious event. Chef Jonathan Williams of Park Hyatt Toronto won silver, and Ottawa's Jason Sawisson of Stofa Restaurant, that's on Wellington Street West, he took home the bronze.
It can be delivered in 2032 with the first submarine here, 4 by 2035, and the entire fleet here by 2043. That is unparalleled.
Still ahead, government officials are in South Korea. This competition to build and maintain Canada's next fleet of submarines heats up. Before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is minus 11 degrees. Israel says Gaza's main border crossing in the southern city of Rafah will be reopening tomorrow for Palestinians to cross on foot after being shut down for almost 2 years. Aid trucks were seen driving through the crossing as they headed to and from Khan Yunis in Gaza. The Israeli military unit that oversees humanitarian coordination says preparations are being made today to allow the movement of people, which is expected to begin in full tomorrow. Before the war, the crossing into Egypt was the only direct exit point for most Palestinians in Gaza and a key entry point for aid into the territory. Well, the Federal Defense Procurement Secretary is in South Korea on a mission to boost trade, along with dozens of military contractors. CTV's senior correspondent Judy Trin has the latest.
Canada's Secretary of State for Defense Procurement is visiting South Korea this week to explore trade opportunities. Secretary Stephen Fair is meeting with Korean defense officials over the next 2 days. He's joined by about 24 CEOs and executives from Canada's security, aviation, and shipbuilding sectors. Last fall, Canada and South Korea signed a defense cooperation agreement that laid the groundwork for stronger ties between ministers and top soldiers. The biggest military contract on the horizon right now is the bid to replace Canada's fleet of aging submarines. The Royal Canadian Navy wants to buy 12 new vessels, and the bids are due at the end of the month. As part of his trip, Secretary Fair will visit Hanwha's shipyard in Koje. Hanwha has partnered with more than 20 Canadian companies to use their technology and materials in the production of the KS-3 submarines they want to sell to Canada.
The submarine is in the water. It's got an operational performance record. It can stay under for greater than 3 weeks. It can operate in and near Arctic, and it can be delivered in 2032 with the first submarine here.
The contract to build and maintain submarines could be worth around $100 billion over 3 to 4 decades. Whether it goes to South Korea or German competitor TKMS, the acquisition will be a big part of Canada's NATO pledge to spend 5% of GDP on defense by 2035. Judy Trin, CTV News, Koje, South Korea.
An Alberta separatist group has confirmed that it has had meetings with U.S. officials over the past year. In an interview with CTV's Question Period, Alberta Prosperity Project legal counsel Jeffrey Rath described the meetings as, quote, very high level, but it would not get into the specifics.
We're talking to them about our aspirations, and we have our goals and objectives. So, we're not a pawn. We're actually more like a rook or a queen on a chessboard, moving forward in the direction that we want to move freely on the board. The pawns are the provincial premiers like Danielle Smith that are being manipulated by Carney and EB and Communist China to do their globalist bidding.
The meetings between the Alberta Prosperity Project and U.S. officials come as trade relations between Canada and the U.S. remain strained, and as separatists in Alberta are seeking to collect 178,000 signatures to trigger a referendum on the province's independence. Canadian beef is heading back to China after a 4-year ban that shut down a key export market. It could help boost the long-term resiliency of a volatile business, but it comes at a time when national herd numbers remain low and prices of beef remain high. Here's CTV's Kathy Lee with what's at stake.
On a golden prairie afternoon, the cattle on this southern Alberta ranch unbothered as their future is shaped far beyond this field. John Smith says some will be sold to large processors, their meat destined for markets near and far, including China.
It's always good news when a new market is made available to us.
The market available again after that country recently lifted a ban on Canadian beef from processing plants. It was put in place in late 2021 after a rare case of mad cow disease was found on an Alberta farm.
China does fulfill a demand for niche and underutilized cuts in Canada.
Before the ban, Canadian beef exports to China hit nearly $200 million a year. Experts say the market could climb back to that level. The Canadian Cattle Association says large processors could begin shipping beef to China in a few weeks, but moving significant amounts will take time, and that's because Canada is facing a cattle shortage and building the herd will take time.
That's going to limit the overall exports that we do sell, but we do continue to export large quantities of beef. We do know that we are able to start to build that market again.
Rebuilding the market also depends on the weather. Drought has been a significant factor in shrinking herd sizes countrywide. How many cows here? But this rancher says if the rain comes and supply increases, demand from China could help steady high beef prices.
It's probably going to hold the price somewhere where it is. It might decrease slightly. But as we know, trade partners come and trade partners go.
And Smith says industry players are looking for long-term market stability.
Us as producers, feedlot operators, we can actually invest with confidence and, increase supply.
But given China's track record, whether it continues to be a reliable buyer for Canadian beef remains to be seen. Kathy Lee, CTV News, near Nanton, Alberta.
The federal immigration minister says she would like her department to take steps making it easier to track if and when people on temporary visas leave Canada. The immigration department says almost 1.9 million of those temporary visas, like work and study permits, are expiring in 2026. More than 2.1 million expired last year, but Lena Diab tells the Canadian press there's no simple way to track exactly how many of those individuals are actually departing the country. She said she'd like to change that with the help of digital tools. More than 112,000 people on temporary resident visas claimed asylum in 2024 and nearly 22,000 on student visas. The vast majority of those claims were rejected. The Liberals' border security bill, now before the Senate, also bars refugee claims from people who've been in Canada for more than a year since June of 2020. Governor General Mary Simon is headed to Norway tomorrow. Simon is set to take part in the Arctic Frontiers Conference and will later meet with Norway's king. The trip is aimed at highlighting Canada's commitment to Arctic collaboration and the role of Indigenous communities in shaping the future of the region. Later in the week, she will make stops in Denmark and in Greenland to meet with different leaders, focusing on the historic bonds between Inuits in Canada and in Greenland. Simon will also attend the opening of the first Canadian consulate in Greenland's capital. A Montreal hip-hop trio is being honored with a new Canada Post stamp. It's part of a series focused on urban artists. CTV's Christine Long has that story.
I feel blessed. It's the first time Canada Post issues stamps honoring hip-hop artists. A celebration was held recently in Toronto.
It's an honor that throws me off my chair.
Each with their own influences from Jamaica, Trinidad, and Haiti. Artists Maestro Fresh Wes, Mishi Me, and Moo Zion are being recognized for their contribution to Canadian music.
Surreal.
Yeah.
It's so surreal that when we received an email first, right? And when we saw it, we said, for sure, it's
a joke.
Someone's trying to hack us right now. So.
Muzion was formed in 1996 by 3 children of Haitian immigrant parents who grew up in the Villeray neighborhood. Siblings Jenny J. Kill and Stanley Impas Salgado were joined by Jocelyn Bruno, a.k.a. Dramatic, on rhymes about growing up without fitting in.
Because hip-hop is built off of understanding that, okay, you may not have a space or you may not be recognized, so we're going to build this thing amongst us. And
hip-hop is a young movement also, so we knew it. We were starting something. You know what I'm saying?
It's 50 years.
Yeah.
So it's 50 years of hip-hop, right?
They were rapping in French, Haitian Creole, and English about making positive changes in the community during uncertain times.
We started this whole thing as a grassroots movement, you know, with the community, and we built it from the ground up.
Jenny says, looking back over 30 years of music with a message from marginalized communities makes her hopeful for the next generation.
Put your heart in it when you're doing it in the moment, not knowing exactly what it is, the significance, the portée of what you're doing, you feel me? And then with time tells you this is who you are.
Right.
This is who sees you. I see so many kids, so many dreams being validated by this symbol.
Symbols that are part of the fabric of Canada that so many people can relate to.
Tell the story of so many Canadians that helped build this country, this nation.
A nation that recognizes trailblazers come from all walks of life. Christine Long, CTV News.
Plastic bag count that we would find in a cleanup dropped by 99%.
After the break, environmental groups celebrate a big win after a federal court upholds a decision that would allow the federal government to continue its ban on plastics.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
There's a live look at the roadways here in Ottawa. Look at the Queensway, and things are flowing quite smooth tonight. Obviously, no snow on the ground, and it doesn't look like we have too much in the way of slick conditions. Also, no Senators game that could be congesting traffic, and so expect a smooth commute if you do find yourselves on the Queensway at some point this evening. It has been brutally cold. I don't know about everyone else, how everyone else is holding up, but a little break from the minus double-digit degree weather is in store, and I couldn't be more excited. It was nice to be out at the ski hill this weekend, especially today. A beautiful weekend at Centre Vorlage, the ski hill there. They have pretty good conditions. 18 out of 20 trails open, 4 out of 4 lifts. This was shot by our camera guy, Brad, this weekend. He was not at work, but he was able to grab some shots as he was snowboarding. Very jealous of you, Mr. Brad. As we take another look at the weather forecast, we see the satellite radar showing little activity, and it is going to be quite nice and quite sunny for, well, at least tomorrow to start the work week. Right now, it is minus 3 degrees in St. John's, minus 6 in Charlottetown, with some snow in the forecast there. Same goes for Halifax. Copy and paste those conditions from Charlottetown to Halifax. We're sitting at minus 10 degrees, so the warm-up has already begun a little bit, 1 degree warmer than when we started the show. Minus 16 right now in Quebec City, minus 7 in Toronto. Another warm one in Calgary, 6 degrees, and they have a mix of sun and cloud. It's minus 5 about 3 hours up the road in Edmonton. And in Vancouver, 10 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud and some rain at some points over the course of this weekend as well. Minus 19 is the low tonight. So I said we've warmed up, and we have by a degree, but don't expect it to last. Minus 19 is quite cold. Tomorrow afternoon, getting up to minus 6, a break from the extreme cold. And minus 5 in the Ottawa Valley for tomorrow afternoon with beautiful sunny conditions. Great day to be outside for a ski, skate, a snowshoe. If you have the day off, minus 7 is the afternoon high along the Seaway. You take a look at the 7-day forecast, and yeah, it's going to be quite nice. We are actually now expecting a little bit less in the way of snow than what was being forecasted by Environment Canada just yesterday. Now we're looking at a 60% chance on Tuesday with a high of minus 5. Cloudy conditions on Wednesday, the sun returning on Thursday with a high of -8 degrees. And then the snow coming back on Friday. But a break from those, as I mentioned, double-degree negative temperatures until at least next weekend, when we get to -13 degrees as the daytime high on Saturday with sunny conditions. So it will be nice. The Rideau Canal, you can expect it to be quite busy. Environmental groups won big this week when a federal court upheld the decision that would allow the federal government to continue its ban on plastics. But now the focus turns to the future. CTV's Kamal Karamali takes a look at the next step for advocates.
Pounds and pounds of plastic picked out of the Don River here in Toronto.
We're seeing thousands and thousands of coffee cup lids.
Even then, Lawrence Warner is looking at all this garbage as a glass half full situation, because there used to be a lot more before Canada's plastic ban came into play.
The plastic bag count that we would find in a cleanup dropped by 99%.
Environmental groups now applauding a decision by the Federal Court of Appeal this week that would allow Ottawa to continue its ban on single-use plastics.
I think we're on the right track.
Nearly 5 years ago, Ottawa classified all plastic-made items as toxic, bringing forward a phased ban on the manufacture and sale of 6 single-use plastic items. But that was challenged by a group called the Responsible Plastic Use Coalition. In late 2023, a federal court judge sided with them, striking down the toxic designation for plastics. But Ottawa appealed the decision, and the following year the case was reviewed. Now this week, a 3-judge panel reversing the decision, classifying plastics as toxic. The Conservative Party's environment critic calling the plastics ban unscientific, saying it makes life more expensive for everyone.
I see right here.
But environmental groups are hoping to push the plastic ban even further, to include other items.
Takeout cups and lids are a real menace, and there's an obvious solution to those, which is reusable systems.
And harsher penalties for those who keep selling them.
We're still seeing, unfortunately, too many pieces of plastic cutlery around. They should be fined, and the government is in its full rights to do that.
And even while we were walking here in this Toronto park, finding plenty of plastic buried under the snow. Expanding the ban, something the federal government is eyeing.
Really smart things that are being put into place. So lots of other things for us to look at.
These volunteers hoping Ottawa doesn't waste any time taking the weight of picking up plastic off their shoulders. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Hard to put in words. I mean, it was just incredible to get that news.
An Ottawa hockey player is going to the Winter Olympics in Italy, but he will not be representing Canada. We'll share the details right after the break. In case you missed it this week, some Ottawa's 67s players got a taste of life as first responders, trading in their hockey gear for firefighting training. It was all leading up to the Siren Series, where Ottawa firefighters and Ottawa police members face off on the ice. CTV's Dave Charbonneau has more.
For 5 Ottawa 67s players, this was not a typical practice day. The players were put through a series of firefighter training exercises at the Ottawa Fire Training Center.
I like to think I'm in pretty good shape from hockey, but that was still even just 5 flights of stairs, and they were saying they do 20 sometimes, so yeah, it was difficult.
Instead of lacing up skates, they were climbing stairs in full firefighting gear.
It was different, but I mean, it was cool to see how they do it, and yeah, it was fun.
For some, the hardest part wasn't the weight of the gear.
Are you scared of heights?
A little bit.
Reaching approximately 100 feet into the sky, it was a view of the city that the players just couldn't pass up.
Definitely went up higher than I expected to, but I mean, yeah, it was really cool.
This training day leads into a special night at TD Place, all to help raise money for the Heart Institute.
Saturday, February 7th, the 67s are playing Brantford. It's a first responder themed game. And then directly after the game, we put out a team on the ice against the Ottawa Police.
The Siren Series may be friendly, but the bragging rights are very real.
Ottawa Police always puts out a good team, and so do we. Now, we've won more games than they have, so I'll just put that in there. But it's going to be another good game, and all the games have been close.
Then we'll put your mask on. I'm going to spin you around a few times.
Back at training,
take a breath. There you go.
The challenges continued, including trying to locate the exit following a hose while blindfolded.
Congratulations, you are alive.
It's pretty hard being blindfolded.
but I'd say stairs is more hard physically.
Hardest, I feel like the stairs. That was tough.
Firefighting officials say the skills on the ice translate well off it.
This actually suits very well for athletes. So they have some innate abilities they don't even aware of. And yeah, no, they all did great.
For some players, the experience offered a glimpse at life after hockey.
Definitely be something I'd be interested to. I mean, a lot of ex-athletes obviously going to firefighting. It's kind of the same atmosphere as a locker room and a team sense like that. So I think in that way it would be pretty cool. But yeah, I definitely have to get used to the heights.
From the training tower to the hockey rink, it's all leading up to a night celebrating local heroes and a good cause. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
And a local hockey player is set to suit up to play in the upcoming Winter Olympics, but not for Team Canada. Ottawa's Jason Seed, with dual Canadian and Italian citizenship, will play in Milan for an Italian team that's looking to make an impact on home ice. CTV's Dylan Dyson has that story.
It suits his game. He's a skater and a puck mover.
In the Seed household, Italian hockey dominates the TV. Tom and Morella watching on as their son Jason Seed chased his dream of playing pro hockey.
He's been playing in Europe for a number of years, but finally went to Italy.
For a family with deep Italian heritage, Jason's situation couldn't get better until he was selected to Italy's Olympic hockey team for the upcoming Winter Games.
It's been kind of the perfect storm. Like, we didn't know when he started his pro hockey career that he'd end up in Italy, much less on the national team, much less having an Olympic opportunity.
Just really hard to describe, hard to put into words. I mean, it was just incredible to get that news.
Seed was born in Ottawa and grew up playing hockey for teams like the Ottawa Sting, Ottawa Valley Titans, Gatineau Olympique, and Carleton Ravens. He now plays for Bolzano Hockey Club in eastern Italy. Still as a child, Seed's mother ensured he got his Italian citizenship.
I never would have imagined it the way it's colliding the way it is now. No, definitely not, because it's a different world, right? Hockey is kind of Canada's sport, and obviously that's where I grew up playing it. But just very fortunate to have this opportunity here now, just based on the, my background.
Playing for Canada probably wouldn't have been an option. He's not an NHLer, and there's a lot of good players in Canada.
Now at 34 years old, Seed is set to represent his family's country on the Olympic stage in Milan, with all of them in the stands. Italy's Olympic group includes Finland, Sweden, and Slovakia.
We know we're definitely the underdogs. That being said, we have some pride. We're obviously the host team, and we're hosting the tournament, and we have a lot of pride in that.
We've enjoyed the ride along with them, but this will be that cherry on top for sure.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
Way up top, again put on net, and that's Allmark's first save of the night.
Still ahead, we will recap a big return for Linus Ullmark back between the pipes for the Sens after a month away. In tonight's big picture, the Venice Carnival kicked off today with a colorful parade on the Grand Canal. This year's edition of the Carnival carries an Olympic theme linked to Italy's hosting of the Milano Cortina Winter Games. The Carnival is titled Olympus, at the origin of the game, celebrating sport and ancient mythology. And sticking with the sports theme, it is time now for some of the stories that you need to know. And CTV's Kimberly Fowler joins us on the studio for this update. Kim.
Yeah, well, the Sens had a big game last night, and the return of Linus Ullmark to the lineup. The New Jersey Kings, they made a visit to the CTC.
And way up top, again put on net, and that's Allmark's first save of the night.
His way back here.
Yeah, Linus Ullmark, he hadn't played since December 27th after stepping away for a leave of absence, a personal leave of absence, that is. And he was tested early in this game. The game was tied after one in the first period, then later on in the third.
Jake Sanderson looks, Brady Tkachuk shoots, it's in the net! Power play goal!
Dylan Cousins breaks up the tie, putting the Sens up 2-1. Now Ottawa would add two more late in the period en route to the 4-1 win. And what a comeback for Ullmark. 26 saves on the night, and he was also the first star of the game. The Sens have now won 3 in a row. They head to Pittsburgh next to play the Penguins, and that'll be on Monday night.
Petkowski moves in, sets it up, scores!
Ottawa 67's David Benkowski ties the game at 2. That is in the first against the Sudbury Wolves this afternoon at TD Place. Now, the Barber Poles, they're riding a 7-game winning streak heading into this one, but that's where it would end. The Wolves go on to the 5-2 win. Big game is up next for Ottawa when they play the only team they're looking up at the Eastern standings to, and that is the Brantford Bulldogs, who they play next Saturday.
Half minutes left to do it. Nice flip pass there from Hellier to Kiernan. He's been snake bit all night, but no longer.
And in the National Lacrosse League, the Ottawa Black Bears, they're on the road for a matchup against the Toronto Rock last night. Connor Kiernan with a 3-point night gets the goal there in the third to cut the Rock's lead 16-10, but that's as close as the Bears would get. Toronto wins 17-10. Now up next, Ottawa will play Calgary next Saturday night, and that's back home at the CTC. NASA says its earliest possible launch date for the Artemis 2 mission around the moon is next Sunday. That'll be February the 8th. The space agency is citing cold weather and winds that blew through the Kennedy Space Center in Florida for the adjusted time. Now, a simulated launch is set to take place tomorrow. That's in preparation for launch day. And the rocket is set to have a Canadian astronaut, Jeremy Hansen, on board, making him the first non-American to travel beyond low Earth orbit. Pretty cool thing for a Canadian to do.
Yeah, so cool. I remember we were talking about this a little bit before as well, but before I came here to Ottawa, I was in Calgary, and he served in 2023 as the Calgary Stampede Parade Marshal. So he's not just an astronaut.
Yes.
He's also an honorable cowboy.
Yeah.
So he's doing it all.
Would you go into space?
I don't know. I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
I'd give it a try, I guess.
Yeah.
Little Katy Perry.
Connor in our ear, the director saying Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboy.
Come on now. What a cool title.
Very cool.
This is my first time to Ottawa, and we've had a great stay. All the people in the tournament, it's been well run, and we've had a great time.
A Super Bowl champion graces the Canadian Tire Centre. We'll tell you why Eli Manning stole the show at last night's Sens game after the break. Before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is minus 11 degrees.
Tonight, a high-stakes mission to strengthen trade and security partnerships. CTV is in South Korea for an inside look at a potential $100 billion defense deal. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Sanaya Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
I'm very sad for my people that are being murdered by this regime.
Keeping up with calls for change, hundreds of Iranian Canadians rally on Parliament Hill calling for regime change in their home country after thousands were killed in brutal protest crackdowns.
It's a time when we as Black people are able to come together and, connect in oneness.
The start of February marks the beginning of Black History Month, an event here in Ottawa, unveiling some special items to celebrate.
Now touch the window with your hand. Dry.
And on the hunt for home improvements while watching the pocketbook, people flock to Ottawa's home and remodeling show despite some economic constraints. Taking one last look at the weather forecast, and things are going to warm up, but we do have a very cold start to our day. Sunny conditions, minus 17, but getting up to a daytime high of minus 6 before the snow returns. A 60% chance of snow on Tuesday, high of minus 5. Cloudy conditions Wednesday with a high of minus 6. And it doesn't look like we're going to get back into the minus double-digit highs until next weekend, when we see lows, or rather highs, of minus 13 on Saturday, minus 14 on Sunday. Finally for us tonight, there was some star power taken in the Sens game last night at CTC.
Yeah, two-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning's in town with his daughter as she plays in a hockey tournament.
This is my first time to Ottawa, and we've had a great stay. All the people in the tournament, it's been well run, and we've had a great time.
Now, Manning, he lives in New Jersey, so he was likely not cheering for the Sens, taking on the Devils, but he was still honored by Ottawa's team. You saw there Brady Tkachuk, Ottawa's captain, gifting the former football star a signed jersey. Now, Manning says he is still learning all about hockey. He's from New Orleans, and so not a lot of hockey out there, but he's thoroughly enjoying his life as a hockey dad.
He looks like a hockey dad, doesn't he?
He does have a hockey dad look to him, actually. It's not kidding. Actually, all the Mannings kind of do.
Yeah. It was good to see that he was there. There was quite the buzz at the game, and even we were watching it on TV. We're like, was that Eli Manning that they just showed? And it was.
It's always cool to see that. And I mean, he was up there with Mayor Mark Sutcliffe and Cyril Leader, and then also got a photo with Brady Tkachuk afterwards. And so always cool to see some stars like that.
Spread the Ottawa love.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good times.
Good night, everybody.